Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Chris, for having me on.
In addition to the fact that these airstrikes have been taking place with our ally France on the city of Raqqa, we also are getting these reports of some sort of stepped-up cooperation between the United States and France in terms of intelligence sharing. Are we doing enough, and what's the next step as you see it, as this threat from ISIS appears all the more imminent?
Chris, it's been a weekend of grief and prayers for those in Paris, but it's also an opportunity now for a new dawn in the approach to removing ISIS from this earth. And, you know, these attacks by the French on Raqqa, that's one step, but I think it also presents now the opportunity for the U.S., the French, and most importantly, our Middle East allies to really come together and take ISIS seriously and recognize that there's no headquarters of ISIS. They don't wear uniforms. They root themselves in small and large cities, and they are all over the world. And to defeat them, it will take a strategy, it'll take resolve, and it will most importantly take courage.
Is your implication, Congressman, that the U.S. and others have not taken ISIS seriously up until now?
I don't think there has been a coordinated effort with Middle Eastern countries to have Middle Eastern countries stand shoulder to shoulder with us to go into these countries like Iraq and Syria, where the hornets' nests are, but also to look across the world and how ISIS is using social media to recruit, attract, and then deploy their fighters across the world.
You mentioned social media. There have been some suggestions, for example, that they've gone dark, that this particular group of terrorists, that they were able to go undetected. Young people, as one of our intelligence analysts said, who, you know, grew up with social media, grew up with this kind of technology, are perhaps ahead of us in the way that they use it. What do you see as you look at what happened over the last 48 hours as the particular intelligence challenges, and how do you prioritize how the U.S. Needs to address them?
The American people can rest assured that our FBI and intelligence community is working day and night to try and find where ISIS is in the United States. However, the challenge now is they are using encrypted technology. So WhatsApp, Apple, Facebook messengers, they're encrypted. And so it's very hard for us to see the communications that are taking place. And so that means we need to have intelligence on the ground from people who see something suspicious, from people who know somebody who's acting in an unusual way, and we have to depend more on that. But it does present new challenges, and if we're going to fight a 21st century mindset and a new army like ISIS, we need to have the tools that they have.
And when you say more intelligence on the ground, beyond the 50 special ops that the president has decided on?
50 special ops in Syria is not enough. We need Middle Eastern cooperation. So that means the officials in Iraq need to work with us. We need to put more pressure internationally on Russia. You know, Russia bears a lot of responsibility for what is happening right now. They're supporting the Assad regime. That regime is attracting more and more ISIS fighters. And so until Assad falls and we have new political leadership in Syria, we're going to see more refugees, and we're going to see ISIS grow out beyond that Syrian area.
So as you and other members of Congress head back to Washington this week, I wonder how you think that this changes the conversation both within the House Select Intelligence Committee and Congress in general?
Chris, it's time that we debate in Congress what the strategy is to defeat ISIS. For too long, we have ceded leadership. We've let the president conduct strikes without having authorization for use of force. It's time for Congress to have this debate, set the parameters, and show U.S. leadership by saying how long we're going to be over there, who we're going to put on the ground, and what other countries we're going to demand join us, particularly Turkey, Iraq, and some of the other Middle Eastern countries in the region.
Congressman Eric Swalwell from California, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Chris.
And these attacks triggering even more heightened security for Sunday.